Less is more in graphic design is not a myth, but rather a fact. This basically helps you to keep your design simple and very clean. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Abu Joseph. So in this video, I'll be walking you through how I was able to achieve this FLYE design in Photoshop. Please, if you are coming across the channel for the very first time and you're interested in graphic design related content, do well to smash the subscribe button and turn on the post notification to get post notification whenever I upload new content. And to my returning subscribers, thank you guys for the love and the support as usual. So I'd like to dive into this by creating a new canvas on which we'll be designing on, and we'll be creating a design for social media as usual. So we'll set the unit of measurement in pixels 1080 by 1350, and the color mode remains on RGB, and the resolution can be set on 300 depending on the system specification of your PC. If yours is of low spec, do well to scale down your resolution to around 72 or 100 depending on the specification of your PC. I'll be setting this on 300. Leave other settings the way they are and hit the create button. Here we have the canvas on which we'll be designing on. The first thing I like to do is to bring in all the resources I'll be using to create this design. So guys, over here are the resources I'll be using to create the design. Do well to check the video description to find the link to all of these exercise files in the video description. The first phase has to do with coming up with the background. Okay, so I would like to bring down these two layers. To be precise, these are images I'll be using. Here is the first layer. All I have to do is to select the layer and hit Ctrl T to transform it out and scale it to fit into my canvas. Then you click on the check button. Moving on, you have to scale down this out of focus by reducing the opacity to around this basically works, so you can still scale it up furthermore to have more detail of what these particular patterns. So next thing, I would like to enable this, likewise scale it up by hitting Ctrl T, hold Alt, scale out, hit the check button. You also can go ahead to scale down the opacity. You don't need this to be on focus. That is in terms of this. So that is in terms of this as well. So I would like to move on by adding more depth to this by selecting this. This is a ribbon I actually created with the pen tool. All you have to do, you can also replicate this by using your pen tool and setting this to shape. Okay, and you can choose to give it any color of your choice. You can just click, come over around somewhere here, click to create the curve part like this, similar like this, and you can hold Alt to break this, come over here, extend it out, and Alt again to break, and you can come over here back and scale out like this to create something of this nature, holding Alt again to break the sliders, coming over here like this. This was created in this particular format. Okay, so do well to give it a try if you intend to create it from scratch by your own self. Okay, so that is in terms of that. So I've already exported this as an image, so you can do well to use it this way, or you can go ahead to create yours from scratch. So first thing first, here I like to hit Ctrl T. Is already converted. I can choose to place this around here. Okay, and the next thing I would like to do is to make a duplicate by hitting Ctrl J, Ctrl T to transform, and you can basically rotate the angle and position it around somewhere like this in your canvas. Okay, so you can just rotate and see how it can fit into your canvas, and we are good to go. Okay, let me see. I think this works. Okay, so that is in terms of that. We'll move on by picking the move tool. The keyboard shortcut to picking your move tool is called V on the keyboard. Take note of that. We'll move on to taking these two layers, select the two layers, holding shift, drag them in between this and this to be precise. Okay, so I need to fill some of the textures on the surface of this particular ribbon. Okay, so after that, select this, hold shift, select this, and hit Ctrl G to basically group them. You can then rename this and call them BG, which stands for your composition of your background. So enable the subject image. This is an image I downloaded from Pinterest. For those that always ask, where do you get your resources? I get some of them from Pinterest, among other websites like Google as well. So right click and convert the layer to a smart object. By doing so, it basically enables you to maintain the quality of the image whenever you scale up and scale it down without losing quality. And the second benefit of converting your layer to a smart object is that it gives you an avenue to make modification to that layer at any point in time whenever you apply filters or any adjustments to that particular layer, to be precise. So I've converted it to a smart object. I would like to bring this here to around somewhere here like this. Okay, and the next thing I like to do is to add depth to this image. Head over to filter and click on camera raw filter. So over here on the camera raw filter, I would like to turn off these basics and head over to the before and the after so that you have a good preview of what we are doing. Okay, starting with the basics, I can increase the exposure to around this. Please take note, while working with the camera raw, it is more of an eyeballing situation. There are no rules. You let your eyes to basically guide you on how to make some of these adjustments. So you can play with the sliders and see how they actually react on the surface of your subject. Likewise, the highlight as well can be enhanced. Okay, let me see. Okay, the shadows as well. Let me see, need to add contrast to around this. Likewise, the white needs to also be increased in this image as well. What else? The blacks as well needs to be added. More of details of the black needs to be added. Okay, the textures can be boosted up. Okay, and the clarity can be increased. Okay, like this. Okay, so moving on, I can head over to details and increase the details to be precise in terms of the sharpening to around this, and this as well. You can scale it up to around this as well. So you can see before and after. You can see how this basically looks. Okay, you can see that the details on this image is actually coming to life. So going ahead, you can click on OK to save the changes. Okay, so this is without and this is with the camera raw. So you can see this actually has a benefit of converting it to a smart object. If I need to make any subsequent adjustment to this camera raw, all I have to do is to double click on the camera raw and it will actually take me back into the camera raw for modification. Okay, so I can go back to make modification. That is one of the essence of converting a layer to a smart object. So next thing, I would like to also add more depth to this particular image or this particular subject image here by right clicking on it and opening the blending option or the layer styles to be precise. I would like to work with the outer glue and I would like to set it as follows. Color mode, blending mode should be on color dodge. Opacity can be set on 39. This can be set on 4. This can be set on 250 to be precise. Our colors here is white, and you can see afterward, leave other settings the way they are. Click on OK. You can see that this, I can also go back to making modification to this as well. Okay, so you can see the impact of this on this particular background. Okay, that is in terms of this. So on a final note as well, I'd like to add a hue and saturation adjustment to boost up the colors on the clothing of this subject. So click on the clip mark so that the effect will be solely on the subject, and we have to come over here and select the colors that are common over here, which are the blues and the cyan. So for the cyan, I'll select the cyan and increase the saturation level of the cyan to be precise. Okay, so you increase the saturation level of the cyan, head over to this and change it to blue and increase the saturation level of the blue as well. Okay, you can see that the image is now coming to life. That is in terms of this. So I can turn it off. You can see before and after of this. I can select two layers and group them by holding shift. Select the two layer, holding shift, Ctrl G to group them and call this let me see, subject. Basically, I'm trying to keep my layer panel as neat as possible. So fast forwarding, I would like to bring in all the text information about this event. So I'll be speeding up the process in terms of doing that. So here are the various information for this particular flyer. I would like to walk you through each and every one of them in details. Over here, I made use of the font called FLYE. That's the name of the font for this set of text to be precise. Okay, for this text to be precise. So all I had to do was to type in each or every one of them and position them this way in my canvas For this, I made use of a combination of different font style of Montserrat. So I made use of bold Montserrat here, while here I made use of the regular Montserrat. Okay, so I adopted similar style to this as well, Montserrat extra for this, while for this I made use of a regular in terms of what style. Regular here I also have extra bold. Okay, those are like the various style. We just made use of two fonts while creating this particular design. Similar technique was applied to this. I just created the text. All I had to do was to rotate it. Okay, so after you are done creating the text, or you are done typing the text, you can hit Ctrl T, right click inside the text, then you can rotate the angle to any angle of your choice. That was how I was able to rotate this text to this particular angle you have over here. Okay, for this subject image, I would like to select it and make modification. Ctrl T. I like to scale it down a little bit and bring it down a little bit like this. Okay, that is in terms of this. And what else again? I like to take down this particular layer here, which is the headline. Let me rename this to headline. Okay, I would like to take it behind the subject so that this information would be behind her, to be precise. So I'll drag it and take it behind the subject layer. You can see that some of those outline glow I added is now reflecting on this particular text. Okay, so making this text looking rich in terms of that. Okay, so on a final note, I'll have to make some adjustment in terms of positioning. So I can select this set of layers. Select the first one, hold shift, hold control to select this particular layer that is in between other layers. Okay, so you can make modifications and position them the way you want them on your design. I can go ahead back to the subject and make adjustments this way. I think this basically looks all right. Okay, so on the final note, I'll have to come back to the background layer here, select this ribbon and expand the size of this ribbon. Okay, so by doing this, I'm trying to create emphasis, setting that the focus of my audience around here to know that this is what the title of this particular event. Okay, so I can select the header, hit Ctrl A, pick the move tool, align it horizontally, Ctrl D to deselect. In order to still add more depth, I can select both ribbons and change their blending mode and see what actually comes out of this. Wow, this also looks nice if you want to play with your layers as well. So I think we are done with this. So ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this. If you have any thoughts or any questions, please do it to leave your thoughts and comment in the comment section. Please don't forget to leave a like if you actually gain value from this video. Drop a like on this video as well and leave your thoughts in the comment section. And to my returning subscriber, thank you guys for always watching. If you have seen me for the very first time, do it to smash the subscribe button and turn on the post notification to get notification whenever I upload new content like this on my channel. As usual, I'll see you in the next.